When my grandfather was a young man, you could still find this method printed in the back pages of the farm almanacs and the seed catalogs, a gray powder, free for the taking from something every farmhouse in America already had, dusted along the garden rows at first light. Cabbage worms, gone. Bean beetles, gone. Slugs would not even cross the line of it. Then the spray companies came along after the war. The catalogs filled up with bottles, and inside of 20 years, that little method had quietly disappeared from print. Nobody ever proved it wrong. There was simply no money in a thing you cannot patent, cannot bottle, and cannot sell to the same man twice. But my family never stopped using it. Katie's kitchen garden has fed this house for 41 years, and there is not one can of bug spray anywhere on this farm. Today, I am going to show you the whole method, start to finish, and it will cost you nothing. And stay with me to the end, because the reason this powder goes down at dawn while the dew is still sitting on the leaves is one specific thing that dew does to the ash. That one thing is the whole difference between the folks who swear by this method and the folks who swear it is junk. I'm David Yoder. I'm 63 years old. I'm old order Amish, and my family has worked the same Lancaster County soil for better than 200 years. I was raised by my daddy, my grandfather, in these fields, and Katie and I raised 8 children and 31 grandchildren on what comes out of that garden. Our son John runs the farm now, so I finally have time to sit on this porch and tell you how we do things. Now, the title on this video says forbidden, so let me be straight with you about that word, because we deal plain here. Nobody ever passed a law against a bucket of ashes, and no sheriff is coming up your driveway. This knowledge was forbidden the way any free thing ends up forbidden. There was never a nickel in teaching it, so the catalogs that live on selling bottles simply stopped printing it, and after a generation or two, folks forgot it was ever there. And the merry-go-round nearly every gardener rides instead goes like this. The beetles show up in June. You drive to the garden center and pay $12 or $15 for a bottle. You spray that bottle on food you are planning to set on your own table. It works for a week, maybe 2. But that spray does not know a bean beetle from a ladybug, so it kills your helpers right along with your pests. The pests always come back first. The helpers do not. So by July, the beetles are worse than before, and you are back at the store buying the bigger bottle. A neighbor of ours down the road figures he hands the spray aisle better than $100 a summer, and his cabbage still looks like lace curtains by August. The old folks stepped off that merry-go-round before it was ever built. One bucket, one quiet walk through the garden, and the whole patch holds. Keep holding that question about the dew while we work, because I promise you it is not superstition. It is the exact reason this works when it works and fails when it fails. Now, everything I am teaching you today is one page out of a manual Katie and I put together called the Amish Family Manual. These old methods were never written down anywhere because everyone simply knew them, so we wrote them down before they are gone for good. The heat, the water, the pantry, the garden, the cleaning, and the quiet, debt-free money habits underneath it all, step by step, with the materials and the dollar amounts in the order a real house runs. It is not a book about becoming Amish. It is a book about keeping more of what you earn, up to $6,000 a year for a regular household. It costs $17, marked down from $47. That is $17, less than one summer month in the spray aisle. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time, there is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. All right, first things first, let us get your bucket sorted, because every bit of this hangs on what goes into that bucket. The powder is plain wood ash, and I mean clean hardwood ash, nothing else. Oak, maple, hickory, cherry, apple. Whatever honest firewood you burn in your stove, your fireplace, or the fire pit out back, that ash will do the job. Now listen close to what never goes in the bucket, because this is where the whole thing gets ruined. No charcoal briquettes. Those are soaked in binders and lighter fluid, and that has no business near food. No painted boards, no stained boards, no treated lumber, no plywood, no glossy paper, and no colored inks. Plain firewood and plain newspaper to light it, nothing else. If you would not cook your supper over it, do not put its ash on your garden. Next, sift it. Take an old window screen or the flour sifter out of the kitchen drawer and work the ash through it into your bucket. The chunks and the charcoal bits stay behind. What falls through should be fine as flour and gray as morning fog. That fine powder is the tool. Then store it right. Use a metal bucket with a metal lid, never plastic, because yesterday's ashes can hold a live coal for 2 days, and I have watched a plastic pail learn that the hard way. Keep the bucket up off the damp floor. Keep the lid on tight. The ash must stay bone dry. Katie keeps a coffee can of the finest sifted ash on the porch shelf for quick work between rains. Keeping it dry sounds like a small thing. It is not, and in a few minutes you will understand exactly why dry decides everything. Now, the first job for that powder is the oldest one, the ring. Slugs, snails, and cutworms do their robbery at night, down at the ground, while you sleep. The ash ring is the fence that stops them. You lay it like this. Pull the mulch back a hand's width from the plant. Pour a ring of sifted ash clear around it, about 2 inches wide. 2 inches, a good gray band, like a little mote of dust. Keep the ash an inch away from the stem itself, so it never sits against that tender skin. For a long row of beans or lettuce, run a line of ash down both sides instead, like a gray fence line. Now the why, because the old ways always had one. A slug is mostly water wrapped in a thin skin, and it travels on a road of slime it makes as it goes. Dry ash drinks moisture the way a thirsty field drinks rain. The moment that soft body touches the ring, the powder starts pulling the water right out of it, and it cannot lay its slime road across. 9 times out of 10 it turns around before it is halfway. A dried slug is a dead slug, and the smart ones seem to know it. One rule keeps that fence standing. After every rain, the ring is done. Wet ash cakes up and quits. So you rake the old ring lightly into the soil, where it turns into free potash fertilizer, and you pour a fresh ring from the bucket. Every rain, a fresh ring. It costs you 2 minutes and nothing more. Fancy breaks, simple lasts. And notice that word, rain. Water is the whole story with this powder, and the dew at dawn is where that story is headed. That handles the crawlers down at the ground. But it leaves you the chewers up on the leaves, and for them, the ash works a different way. Cabbage worms on the broccoli and the cabbage, bean beetles on the snap beans, the soft gray squash bug, young on the squash and the cucumber vines, flea beetles peppering the eggplant with pinholes. For all of them, the tool is a dusting, and the hour is first light, while the dew is still on the leaves. We do it like this. Put 2 cups of sifted ash into an old cotton sock. Tie a knot in the top. Walk out at dawn while the leaves are wet with dew. Hold the sock about a foot above the plant. Tap it gently with 2 fingers. A fine gray dust will settle over the leaves like pepper over eggs. Dust the tops of the leaves first, then reach under and give the undersides a tap too, because the undersides are where the worms hide and the eggs wait. Go light. You want a dusting, not a coating. If the leaf turns as gray as our buggy, that is too much, and a lighter hand works better anyway. 2 more things, and they matter. Keep the dust off the open blossoms so the bees keep their footing and their dinner. Ash is for the leaves, never for the flowers. And wear your gloves, keep the dust out of your eyes, and do not stand downwind, breathing a cloud of it. It is only stove ash, the same ash your grandmother handled all her life. But it is strong stuff when it meets water, and your skin will tell you so. Do this once a week in dry weather. Do it again after every rain, same as the ring. Now, you have heard me say dawn and dew a half dozen times, and I have made you wait long enough, almost. There is one short warning first, because this powder can turn on you if you give it a heavy hand. Wood ash does 2 more jobs while it stands guard. it feeds, and it sweetens. The old folks called it potash for the plainest reason there is. For hundreds of years, people made it by soaking ashes in a pot. Potash. That potash feeds your beans, your squash, your tomatoes, and your cabbage just fine. But the sweetening is where trouble hides. Ash makes soil sweet, which is the old word for the opposite of sour, and some plants want their ground sour, so here the two nevers. Never put ash on the potato rows. Sweet soil invites scab onto your potatoes, and scabby potatoes keep poorly through the winter. That one is never, none, not even a dusting. And never put ash near the blueberries, the azaleas, or the rhododendrons. Those are sour ground plants, and ash will sulk them for years. Everywhere else, the guardrail is a light hand. A coffee can of ash a week is plenty for a family garden. If you can still see gray on the ground a week after you spread it, ease up. A little ash is medicine for a garden. A shovelful in one spot is a bellyache that lasts 3 seasons. And that brings us to the part I promised you at the very start. Why dawn? Why dew? Why my grandfather would stand at the kitchen window with his coffee, waiting on first light, when he could have dusted the evening before while he was already out there. The secret under the secret is the dew. That ash in your sock is fine as flour and light as smoke. Dust it onto a dry leaf at noon, and 2 things happen, and neither one is good. The first breeze carries half of it away across the yard. What little stays just sits there loose, like dust on a dresser, and the first worm that comes along walks around it and goes right on chewing. The fellows who tried it that way are the fellows who will tell you ash is junk. They did the right thing at the wrong hour, but at dawn, that same leaf is wet with dew. The good Lord lays that water down free of charge every morning of the growing season. Now the powder lands on the wet leaf, drinks up that little bit of dew, and sets. It turns into a thin gray film, stuck tight to the leaf, top and bottom, like whitewash on a fence board. The breeze cannot take it anymore, and when the sun climbs and dries it, that film hardens on and holds all day. Then the pests meet it. A cabbage worm crawls across that film, and the powder clings to its soft, wet skin and starts pulling the water out of it, the same way the ring pulls the water out of a slug. There is no poison at work anywhere. The ash dries them where they stand, and whatever it does not dry, it turns away, because a leaf wearing that film tastes like the wrong end of the stove, and a worm quits after the first bite. So the dew sets the powder, and now the other half. A rain washes it clean off. A little water is the making of this method. A lot of water is the end of it. That is the whole clock, and now it is yours. Dust at dawn while the dew works for you. Dust again after every rain, because the rain undid you. Folks ask me how the Amish keep gardens like Katie's without one bottle from the store. We don't have secrets, we have memories, and now you have this one. And that little why, the kind that never made it into any catalog, is exactly the kind of thing that fills the Amish family manual. Every method Katie and I put in that book is written out plain, with its reasons, its materials, and its dollar amounts, the garden, the pantry, the heat, the water, the whole household. It is $17, marked down from $47, and the garden pages alone can hand you that back the first summer you walk past the spray aisle. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time, there is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. So there it is. One metal bucket of clean sifted hardwood ash beside the stove, a fresh 2-inch ring for the crawlers, a sock dusting at dawn while the dew is on, again after every rain, a light hand everywhere, and none at all on the potatoes. Now tell me in the comments, did your grandparents do it this way too? Maybe an ash bucket by the back door, maybe a trick of their own I have never heard. I'd surely like to hear it, and I read every single one. Next time, I am going to show you what Katie does with 1 bar of plain soap in a bucket of rainwater that clears aphids off a rose bush in one afternoon, and why the kind of soap you choose decides whether it works at all. That's how we've always done it, friends. Live plain, live well, and God bless you now.